Hello everyone, welcome to GATE Academy. So here I am Richa Gupta with you all, and today we will be starting with environmental engineering first chapter, that is water demand. Fine. Now before going to water demand, what I'll do is first I'll tell you about raw water and how is this water demand, sources of water, all these are interlinked, and then we'll proceed. Fine, because since we are starting for GATE plus ESE point of view, I want that each and every topic, each and every statement should be very much clear to you. Fine. So now first of all, what is this raw water? You would have come across the words like in environment broadly we have raw water part and wastewater part. Fine, you just study. Maximum people of you, if I'll ask you, okay, just tell me what is raw water, what you will give me the definition of it. Okay, I'll tell you. Raw water is basically that water which is derived from natural sources. Fine, means this water you derive it from natural sources. Now, what are these natural sources? These natural sources may be rivers, maybe lakes, maybe ponds, maybe groundwater, or maybe you would have got it from precipitation, that is rainfall. Anything could be there. Fine. So, what you can say, raw water is that water which is derived from natural sources. And what could be these natural sources? If I'm talking regarding these natural sources, it can be anything. It can be like, you can classify it as what? It can be surface source. It can be surface source like rivers. Surface source. It can be groundwater. Or it can be precipitation. Fine, anything can be there, but it is derived from natural sources. Now comes the question, okay fine, if we are deriving this raw water from any sources, fine, now comes the questions, what source we have to select? Because see, I told you we are starting from raw water. In raw water you study water demand. So see, this raw water is basically linked to natural sources. And one more thing in raw water which you should know is, raw water hasn't gone any artificial treatment. Fine, natural treatment can be possible. Now you'll ask, ma'am, what is natural treatment raw water undergoes? Suppose there's a river flowing. Fine, there may be some sorts of sediments in there, basically some sorts of particles are there basically. So these particles over the passage of time when the river is flowing, it will get settled down. Fine. So what is this? This is a natural treatment. We haven't created artificially any sort of treatment, or we haven't provided any sort of treatment to rivers. Fine. So this is basically natural treatment which we give to raw water. Basically we don't give, it occurs naturally. Artificial treatment we humans, man-made people give to this raw water afterwards when it converts into wastewater, and that we'll be studying later. But now for your kind information, you should know that it is derived from natural sources. It undergoes natural treatment. Fine. Now, second thing comes the sources. What are the sources which needed to be selected? Fine, you can extract water from tube wells also, you can extract water from rivers also, you can get water from precipitation also. So there are so many sources. Fine, if you have one source in your area nearby, then okay fine, you have to take that source. But although if you are having all these three sources, let us suppose, then what to take? How will you decide the criteria? So first of all, now I'll move to sources. Fine. See, I'm creating a picture so that I can relate water demand, sources, distribution, everything. That why it is necessary to study them step by step. And we can't miss anything. If you're talking about ESE point of view or even a GATE point of view, you can't miss anything. If you will interrelate the things and study, that will be much more beneficial because you know the story behind it, so you are able to memorize it. Fine. So now, here when I'm talking regarding the sources, what are the criteria on the basis of which you will select the source? Let us suppose here you have a source of water and here it's your community, a city, or basically here I'm calling it as a community. Fine. So here is your community and here is the source. I have marked it very nearby, but in actual they are obviously at a certain distance. They are not so close, but I am marking it in bold, so I am just showing you like this. Fine. Now what happens? Water from the source has to supply to the community. Fine. Obviously you want to need water for all your activities. So what you are doing, you have selected a source and you have supplied water to a community. This process by which water is supplied from the source to the community, this is known as raw water engineering, which we will be studying. Raw water engineering. Fine. Now, the moment you got the raw water, this raw water, you got it, you used it. Basically, this raw water you won't be provided as a whole. Obviously, there will be some sort of treatment which we'll be doing. So, don't worry about it. So, let us suppose you got water for drinking, cleaning, washings. That water converted into wastewater. Fine. Now, the water which you had taken a bath, can you drink that water? Obviously not. It is a wastewater. So, that wastewater again after treatment goes to the source, and this is known as what? This is known as wastewater engineering. So I just wanted to make this very much clear to you that on the very first was what happened is, from source, you selected a source, selection of source, what are the source, this will be studying in sources of water. Fine. So you have selected a source, fine. From source, you are taking the water and you are supplying it to the community, which is known as raw water engineering. This we'll be dealing later on. But one thing which you should keep a note here, from community, the wastage water, basically from your cooking, cleaning, washing utensils, industrial water, anything, this water does not directly goes to the source. It goes treatment, and that's why we study treatment of wastewater as well. Fine, here I have written like this, but that means that here treatment is to be occurred. Treatment is to be happening. Fine. Now, when I'm moving here, you can see water moves from source to the community. Now, you just tell me, can water from the source directly go to the community without any treatment? What I'm asking you is, can water directly from the source goes to the community without any treatment? Is it possible or can it happen? Just tell me. Just think about it once. It takes just 5 seconds. Think about it. Okay. No. Maximum cases no, but it might be also. How can I justify my statement? See. What is happening is, there is a source of water. You know that in source of water, in any source, let us suppose in a river water, there may be some desirable quality of water and there may be some undesirable quality of water. That means there might be some minerals which are very much required or which are very much important, essential for our growth. Fine. And there may be some compounds in water, some elements in water which are very toxic to our health. Fine. That is very dangerous, very harmful to our health. And obviously, water can contain both. So what is happening when you want to extract water or when you just transport water from the source to community, first thing which you have to keep in mind is we have to check, or basically we have to check it out, that the water should have desirable quality and undesirable quality of water should be removed. Fine. So this thing you should know. So when you take source, to add desirable quality of water, and to remove undesirable quality of water. Now, some of you would be having the question, ma'am, what if the source contains desirable quality of water and there is no any undesirable quality? Then it's fine. Go and supply it to the community. Fine. That is the reason I told you that it may be possible that all the desirable quality are there and up to a permissible limit. See, everything beyond a certain limit in our body is very much harmful to us. This all things we'll be studying. I'm telling you that this is like a trailer which I'm giving you for the picture which we'll be studying later. So this trailer should be clear to you. Fine. That I want that you should question yourself why the chapters are arranged in this manner. So that's the reason I'm telling you. Fine. Now, if all the quality parameters, desirable qualities are within permissible limit in the source and there is no any desirable components, no any toxic elements, then water from the source will directly get supplied to the community. No issues. Fine. But generally it doesn't happen. So you have to add desirable quality of water and you have to remove undesirable quality of water from the source, which is to be source of water, which is to be supplied to the community. Right? Now, this is clear to you. Now comes the question, you have supplied the water, you have selected a source and you are supplying it to the community. This source of water, how much amount of water to be supplied? Fine, you have selected a source and you are supplying water. But now you should ask me a question, backside when I use this statement, you have to select a source. Ma'am, how can we select a source? Fine, if we are free to select, we can select a tube well, but is it possible that water can supply water to a large community, to a large group of people? No. Obviously no. The tube well water, can you imagine that it will supply to a population of 2 lakhs, 3 lakhs a day? No, not possible. So that is the reason for studying the source of water, for knowing or for selection of the source of water, first you have to know the demand of water. What is basically the demand in that area? Fine. So you have to know the demand of water. The moment you came to know regarding the demand of water, you can select the source of water. Source of water, when you are selecting, you have to check the quality parameters of water. I have told you to add desirable quality and to remove undesirable quality. That means we have to study the quality of water. Now, you only tell me, when you know the quality of water and you know that, okay, fine, maximum cases we see that what happens is you have some sorts of impurity, some sort of toxic elements, or basically our main duty as per the public water distribution systems, that is PWDs, is they'll make the water treated so that if you don't have an AquaGuard, you don't have an RO for the lower class people also, lower class basically low income group people, not lower classes, you can say low income group people also. For them also, you can supply water and it should be like sufficient enough, or there should be a surety, you can say, that they can consume that water without doing any filtration, because that filtration has been done by the PWDs. Fine? Getting my point? So, that is the reason we do treatment of water, for adding desirable quality and for removing undesirable quality. For that thing, you have to study quality of water, because I'm telling you that, okay, fine, there is desirable quality, there is undesirable quality. So you'll say, ma'am, how could you know? From where you find it out? That all things, that which are the desirable qualities, what are the permissible limits, up to what extent it should be present in water, all these things we'll be studying in quality of water. Even you know what are these water diseases which we get from jaundice, virus, all these things from water which we get from consuming water. These all things are also being analyzed in quality of water. Fine. So the moment you know that, okay, fine, these are the desirable components, these are the undesirable components. So undesirable you need to remove, and if there are not desirable components, you need to add it up. So all these is being done in treatment of water. Remember, here I am telling treatment of water, not wastewater. Treatment of water. Now what you can see is, here, from source to the community, you are supplying water with the help of pipes, obviously through pipes, through pumps. So you have to study it also. What are the pipes to be used? All these things also you have to study. So we'll be studying regarding the pipes. Fine. Then you will be studying regarding the, just a minute, I'll number it up. Source of water, quality of water, treatment of water, pipes. Now, from the pipes, if you would have seen in your homes or your communities, what happens? There is a service reservoir, there is an overhead tank which is there. And for your area, for your community, there is an overhead tank, and from there, water is being supplied to your homes. Fine. So we have to study regarding the distribution system and service reservoirs. Fine. So you will be studying regarding the distribution system also, how water is being distributed, and you will be studying regarding the service reservoirs also, that how much capacity of water is to be stored in the service reservoir, for how much quality of water it has to be designed. Because suppose like I just laugh at you all people, I just ask you all that how could you know that it has to be like such amount of depth, how much quality of water? Ma'am, there is an idea. How come there is an idea? Of course, you have to see the population in the community there. Fine, it's not like you can construct it of any diameter. Obviously, it's very costly. So, any diameter, any material, no, you have to properly design it. You have to calculate the amount of water required in that community in case of emergency, in case of balancing storage. All these terms, if you're very much new, you won't be getting it. Don't worry. I told you this is a trailer. We'll be having the picture. So just here I'm giving you a trailer that all those things we'll be studying. Fine. So these are basically, these all components: demand, source, quality, treatment of water, pipes, distribution system, service reservoir makes up the whole raw water. This makes up the whole raw water engineering. So all these components, all these things which I have written, they make a separate chapters and which we'll be dealing it. Fine. Now, you know what? Just having a source of water is necessary because source of water will be selected based on demand of water. One more thing is there. The thing is, I'll just explain you with the help of a flow chart. Let us suppose there is a source. Fine. Generally in the source nearby here, an intake structure is also constructed. Intake structure, what does it do? It stores the water from the source and which can be supplied further. Fine. There is an intake structure also. Now what happens? From source through pipes. Let us say this is pipe 1. It is being supplied to any pumps, you can say pumps or any canals, pumps. And from here, with the help of pipe, this is pipe 1 only, you supply it to a water treatment plant. There is a water treatment plant. So what is happening? From source, you are taking the water through pipes and then it passes through pumps and you supply it to the water treatment plant. Here, you will add desirable quality of water, remove undesirable quality, all those stuffs you will do. And then again, through the same pipe, you will supply this water to the service reservoirs. Service reservoirs. Here, water will be stored like overhead tanks, which you say that is only service reservoir. And from here, with the help of another pipe, that is pipe 2, water will be supplied to your homes through a distribution system. Distribution system. Getting it? So now what I told you is, from source, here basically there is an intake structure which is constructed. From intake structure to the pipes, from pipes to pumps, pumps to water treatment plant, from water treatment plant to the service reservoir, and then it moves to the distribution system. That means from here it reaches to your homes. Fine. Now, have you ever thought while I told you this, ma'am, you taught us source, all these pumps and all, but could you tell that for how much amount of water is to be designed, for how much quantity of water these pipe is to be designed, these pumps has to be designed, this water treatment plant has to be designed? Obviously, first of all, I want to know the demand of water. Based on that, I will select the source. And you remember one thing, every time in your life, you won't select a source like which can supply water to this whole community for a year. You want a source which should be supply water for a considerable number of years. Fine? Because these structures, these pipes and pumps, here I have drawn it such a small length, but in actual it is in kilometers. So you can't just for a year or for 2 years, can you construct for such a costly structure? No, it is highly uneconomical. So that's why for selection of source also, based on the water demand, you have to take care very much. Fine. So this pipes, this water treatment plant are being designed, fine, for based on the population, based on the per capita consumption of water, and for how much days, for how much basically amount of water it is designed, that we'll be studying. Fine. So that is the reason I have drawn this, so that you know the mechanism through which water reaches to your homes. Here also first we will study service reservoirs, then distribution systems. These things we just study in one chapter also. You can just designate it as 2 chapters also. No issues. Fine. So now what is happening? You got from service reservoirs to distribution system. Now leave all these things. I think you have understood these things. Now we'll be focusing on a first very chapter, that is water demand, or you can say demand of water. Fine. The reason of doing first chapter water demand, because source will be decided based on the demand of water, and all these components which are present, they will be also being designed based on the demand of water. Now, you would be having one question in your mind which I'll tell you, and this doubt I'll clear later. What happens, you'll say, ma'am, you told us that these components which has to be designed, these are based on demand of water. Agreed. But now, ma'am, demand of water, that is the how much amount of water we required, it depends upon the population. Agreed. So, ma'am, are we designing it for today's population? All these components, if we'll design for today's population, you know that the population keeps on increasing year after year. So if we are designing for today's population, after 2 or 3 years, this whole system will fail. Absolutely true. No issues. That's why we calculate the design population. What is this design population? How we calculate? That also we'll be discussing. Fine. So this doubt many of you would be having, and I'll clear that doubt. I don't want that I should tell you everything and like it would be a hodgepodge. Fine. So demand of water is the amount of water which we required for all our activities like drinking, cooking, washing, industrial activities, commercial activities, all those things. Fine. So now, in water demand, first thing which you will be knowing is, see, this water demand, when I'm talking, let us suppose, I'll give you an example first. If you just take rice, if you purchase rice, what you do? You measure it in kgs, milligrams, grams. Similarly, if you take milk, purchase milk, you measure it in liters. Fine. So, different commodities have different units of measurement. Agreed? So, when I'm talking regarding water demand, from now it should be very much clear to you that water demand we measure in liters per capita per head. I'll write it down and I'll explain you also, don't worry. Liters per capita per head. In short, see, we are engineers, we are like so much lazy that we don't write the full form every time. So what we'll do, we'll write it in short, LPCD. Fine. So now if everywhere you get this LPCD term, it should be very much clear to you that it is liters per capita per head. So this per capita consumption of water per head, how you get it, we'll understand that. Suppose the whole year volume is V. Total yearly water consumption that you can suppose in your city, be it any city, you have calculated the whole year water consumption, let us say V, for the whole population. So can I write it as total yearly water consumption of a city? Water consumption of a city, let us say it is V liters. Fine. This I got for the whole population for the whole year. Fine. If I want to get for one day, fine, I have written liters per capita per day. Sorry, it's per day. Capita means per head. Fine. So if you see this word capita or you see this head, that means same thing only. Or you can say per person also. Fine. So liters per person per day, that is LPCD. Basically we say liters per capita per day. So now this is yearly and I want to get for one day. So what I'll do? I'll divide it by 365. And now this total yearly water consumption I got for a city or basically for a community. That means for the whole population. And I want to get for a single person. What I'll do? I'll divide it by the design population. Or basically you can say population at the end of design life. And what is this design population or population at the end of design life? That thing which you had a doubt, which I told you. You said na that ma'am, if you're designing it for today's population, these components will fail after 1 or 2 years. So that is why if suppose we are designing it for 15 years. So at that 15 years, at that time, what will be the population? That design population we are taking it. Fine. This design population, that is known as the design population. So, per capita water consumption per day is given by total yearly water consumption of a city divided by 365 days into design population. Will give you per capita demand. Okay. So, this much is clear. Now, after this, there are certain terms which you have to keep in mind in water demand. What are they? First term, I am writing it here, okay? First term is annual demand. See, demand is also known as draft. So, if in question it is written demand or it is written draft, that means one or the same thing. Fine. What is this annual demand or what is this annual draft? Total volume of water required in a year. What I'm telling you, total volume of water, total volume of the whole people, of the whole population required in a year is known as annual draft, or you can say annual demand. So what I can write? Total volume of water, or basically you can say volume of water required in a year. This annual draft or demand draft you denoted by V. So volume of water, total volume can say, volume of water required in a year is known as annual demand. Now you will ask me, ma'am, how can we calculate this annual demand of water? What is the main, how can we calculate? What is the main steps to be followed? What you will do for calculating the annual demand is, you will calculate the demand of water for each day. You will calculate it for 365 days, that for today what is your demand, every day your demands, my demand as well as the whole community demand. Fine. So each day we will calculate this, and for 365 days we will calculate and we will add it on. This will give you what? Total volume of water required in a year. This will give you annual demand, or you can say it as annual draft. Fine. Now, second thing which you will be dealing it here is annual average daily demand. Annual average daily demand. What is this annual average daily demand? Let's understand that first. What is happening is, annual average daily demand, see, you got it for the year, and you need it daily. So what you will do? You will divide it by 365. Fine. You got the volume of water required in a year. You told it as what? You told it as annual demand. So if you want to calculate annual average daily demand, what you have to do? Just the quantity of water, or basically the volume of water required in a day is known as annual average daily demand. So the total quantity of water which you got it in a year, you will divide it by 365, you will get annual average daily demand. Fine. So volume of water required in a day, and this will be equal to what? V by 365. Fine. Annual average daily demand. Now, there is a third term which you have to know is, I am writing it here, annual average per capita daily demand. Annual average per capita daily demand. Now, I know that you would be knowing this simple. You got it for a year. You got it for a day. Now you need to get it for a single person per capita. So what you will do? You will divide it by the design population. You will get annual average per capita. On an average per capita, that is per person, requires how much amount of water. Fine. So what you will get? This will be V upon 365 into P. That is the design population. Fine. So annual average per capita daily demand will be equal to what? Volume of water required by per person per day. So now this much is clear to you. Now what is happening is, we have studied annual draft, annual average daily demand, annual average per capita daily demand, or you can say daily draft. This should be very much clear to you, because when we'll be studying further, this terms has to be clear. So just now, if you'll be having any doubts, I have told you what will be the doubts. I have cleared that doubts, and this population will be the design population, or you can basically say population at the end of design life. Clear? So I gave you the whole idea regarding the raw water engineering, regarding the various components which we'll be studying. First, we'll be studying service reservoirs, and then we'll be studying regarding the distribution system. Okay, I have done it reverse. First service reservoir and then distribution system. Fine, this much is clear to you. Now, after this, we'll be moving towards the various types of demand. I told you regarding what type of, basically what parameters we take. Fine, what is the unit which we specify for water demand. Now we'll be moving, what are the various types of water demand. Fine, for a domestic, industrial, all these stuffs we'll be dealing now.